Welcome to the Own It Powercast, the place to be when you get serious about making big changes and accelerating growth in your life and in your relationships. Finally create the life you've always wanted, living life on your own terms. Learn how to take your fear and turn it into powerful choices that will create sustained change. Now your host, Mary Baker.
Hey everyone. Welcome to a special episode of the Own It Powercast, a place where you can come to get what you need to move yourself forward. So this is a special bonus episode where we can explore some healthy coping during this coronavirus. This, of course, has many of us stuck at home with lots of anxiety. Some of you are even on the front lines working in medical settings and grocery stores delivering. First, I just want to thank you for your bravery. Because of you, the rest of us will have food, medicine, gas, and groceries, and any other necessities. This pandemic, for me, brings back memories of 9/11, the worry of more attacks in the beginning of that process, and metabolizing the sobering reality of what just happened. There was horrific loss, there was fear, there was anger. My country, the U.S., changed that day, with the possibility of an attack now in our psyche where it really hadn't been there before for most of us. This pandemic has similar feelings for me, that we're fighting another terrorist, an invisible virus that is so sneaky and menacing. Here are some things I think that we're dealing with, and not an exhaustive list, just some things that have struck me in recent weeks. First, a new paranoia, right? Now we are all germaphobes, desperate to control outcomes, right? Pulling away, isolating to protect ourselves, and also to protect others. Our fight or flight or freak out is normal, but it's getting exhausting. That system of protection in our brain was not meant to be used in a chronic fashion, right? It was for immediate danger, and then we go back to safety. But the fear here is real, and even without enough testing, it's hard to know the true danger when we go out, when we buy things, when others come near us or drop something off on our porch. We don't know, which creates even more anxiety. Beyond fear about our health and health of loved ones is real worry about money. You know, for adults, the Great Recession was not that long ago. Fears of economic insecurity are not unfounded either. We don't know what's going to happen with this. You know, those of us who are directly impacted by lost wages have some real concerns. Not knowing when things will return to normal makes it really difficult to plan as well. So a lot of us are not spending or trying not to spend, which in my country can hurt the economy. So then people have talked to me about their guilt about that, bumping up against their fear of letting go of cash. The other thing is a lot of this is like a PTSD response, post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, our brain is in overdrive. So it's just normal if you find times where you're irritable, where you're easily triggered, you're anxious, you're emotional, you're snapping at each other. You know, your brain really wants to return to normal. It wants to return to calm. But things keep happening and things keep evolving every day in the news. So it's like a constant arousal state, and we're trying to protect and be safe and be secure, that any time someone isn't doing something safe, we can actually lash out at them because we're scared or we're angry. All of this is not good. There's a lot of unmet needs as well. There's the security of your routine 2 months ago. Even if you hated it, it was secure. People are feeling cut off from social connections that they used to have, ways of taking care of themselves, like at the gym, going to work, going out, being with friends. A sense of purpose if you're not able to do the work you used to do. That's really difficult for those professions who have been pretty much sent home. There's that sense of connection with your colleagues and your work family and your community. and your extended family and your friends and your partners. There's that loss of freedom, right? The actual freedom to move about the cabin. We don't have that. But also the freedom from fear of not having to worry about the unknown. And of course, control is an illusion and perception is perception. But now having to worry about all of this and the economic impacts on top, aka the ripple effect that might be with us for a long time, that's a lot of loss to grieve here. A lot of loss. There are people who own small businesses who are really struggling. That's their livelihood. They put their heart and soul into it for years. And now what? There's layers and layers of losses. There's tons of fear. There's tons of anxiety. It's normal to grieve. Going kicking and screaming to acceptance. Let yourself be angry. Take a few moments every day. Get your feelings out in a healthy way. Journal, hit the pillow, share them with someone. Get it out. Because how to cope is what I want to talk about here. Own your feelings and get them out is the first place to start. That's why I just tried to normalize some of the things for you. We are grieving. We grieve the dream, not the reality, right? We're grieving that we have to go through this. We're grieving because this was change imposed upon us that we didn't ask for. It's a whole different gig if you wanted to stay home for 2 weeks because you wanted to stay home. It's different when you have to and you didn't choose this. Another big way to cope is boundaries. When we have boundaries, we can feel a little bit more secure. When we have boundaries, we can feel a little bit more solid. We know what to trust. We have better focus. And we have better relationships. When we have boundaries, it's not as open and it's not the abyss that you feel like is going to swallow you. I'm sure you've heard the joke like, what day is it? Because we've been here for a month and we forgot what day it is because we're home and we have a loss of routines. The losses of a lot of boundaries in our life that we didn't realize were there and were serving us. So one thing I really want to encourage is some boundary work while you're at home. Okay, knowing you may have to adjust these boundaries as things change. The first one is boundaries around input. And you know what I mean by that, the news. I know you need to know what's going on, we all do, but the daily scrolling of news is not good. That's taking in a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. It's keeping you in that hyper-arousal state. Enough is enough. So find a way to limit for you and create that fine line between the fear of being uninformed and being saturated with just too much. If there's nothing new, why bother? Okay? You know what you need to know, so you can do what you need to do. That's enough. You will be surprised how much better it's going to feel if you really limit your input of that. When there's a brand new crisis, of course, we are constantly trying to find new information. Our brain wants to do that because we need to know what's really happening and what do I need to do to take care of myself and my family. But I think now we kind of have a sense, we know where this is going. And so for the time being, I don't think it's necessary to be online 24/7 looking at, listening to, watching, or reading the news. Okay, so try to put some limits on that. Okay. The other set of boundaries is around your time and energy. It's adaptation and adjustment to being home from your old routine, no matter what that was for you. So it took us a couple weeks to settle in and realize, wow, this is not going to be uber temporary, is it? We're going to be here for a minute. So now's the time to really think about detaching and letting go of some outcomes and really, really pick your battles. And my heart goes out to 2 working parents, 2 young kids. Either toddlers you have to watch all day, or kids who have schoolwork online that now you have to be educators as well and homeschool. That's a hell of a lot of stress on you guys. And I just really want to encourage you to let some things go. Pick what the top priorities are, negotiate it out with your partner, Have the kids do as much as they can. Drop your expectations big time. Keep it real simple. This is crisis mode. We can't do everything like we used to. Try to keep, though, your old routines as much as possible. Not letting kids stay up really late. Try to keep a routine around their learning. Maybe if you're working from home, what hours are you going to be working? Then when do you close the laptop and walk away? Try to even put that in a different room. Whatever you can do to create some kind of either physical or psychological boundary in your home really matters. Even dressing differently for sitting in front of the computer matters, okay? It's all psychological, but perception is reality. Remember? Just keep the routine of stopping one thing and starting another. It's the boundary blur that really messes with our head after a while and can create even more anxiety, more exhaustion, and a lot of depression. So that's why we want to be careful of that. Okay? The other thing is we are adapting to new routines, right? This is all brand new for a lot of folks. But I just want you to pretend for a moment that you chose this sabbatical and own the choice to adapt. Try to move towards acceptance. Have your feelings like we talked about a few moments ago, but they get into choice. It's like, okay, I'm not going to let this take me down. I'm going to adapt. It's only for a little while. I can do this. It's a for now experience, not a forever one. And remember, what we resist persists, right? The longer it takes us to freaking adapt to what's going on, the more miserable we are and the poor folks that are stuck at home with you, and the more frustrating it's going to be. So we have our feelings and we're like, okay, I need to accept this new reality for now. How do I want to best manage that for me? Remember, lower those expectations and don't try to do too much. Okay, don't try to cram too much in, be everything for everyone, overcompensate, fix everyone's feelings in the home because you don't want to feel your own kind of thing. You know who you are. Okay, you're already doing a lot more cooking and cleaning and teaching and parenting than you would be if everyone were at school and at work. And it's not like you can get a babysitter or utilize other healthy supports. Okay, that means we're stranded on our own personal islands, and if we don't take good care of ourselves, we're going to implode. So let's be really, really wise with our resources and not deplete ourselves or wear out our partner. Okay. Not be so stressed that we're ruining this time together. I find that partners, especially in families who negotiate early and often, are feeling a lot better. Okay. Make a plan with your partner, your family. Make a strategy. Check in with them every couple days because the situation is still rather fluid. Stick to the plan. Carry it out. Build trust. Have boundaries because it's going to feel better to know what the hell we are doing and why and how. It keeps people's anxiety lower too. And we have to make agreements like, okay, if you go into the store, are you wearing gloves? Right? Because when you come home to me, you could infect me. And so make sure you make agreements you can stick to. The other coping skill is don't try to project out too far. Just stay in this week. Just stay in this week. Balance needing to know how long, right, this is going to go so you can budget money and what have you, and not focusing on us being stuck here until July, because that'll make you crazy. Keep giving yourself permission that every week you'll reevaluate. You guys will regroup, we'll figure it out. Just telling ourselves the choice statement that I just said, we will figure it out, we'll sit down again next Sunday, gets us out of our fight or flight or freak out or effort and into our prefrontal cortex where we're choosing and owning the choice. You don't have to have any answers. You just know that you're going to choose again next week with new data. The other thing that's really important is make sure you don't isolate. Make sure you reach out and connect and really be vulnerable with people, even if it's just one person. Let yourself vent. Connect emotionally, share your fears, share your frustrations. You know, it's pretty normal to be feeling a whole mix of feelings. I know I've been feeling gratitude that I can work from home, fear, tons of fear, worry about family members, worry about the economy, anger about our lack of leadership, our lack of a plan as a country, exhaustion. This is exhausting. Doing the what ifs and the if onlys. This is part of the grief work. But don't do too much in your head, ruminating. Stop it. Bring it back to here and now. Be here now, breathe, share your heart a couple times a week, and then get back to the task at hand. Okay? So it doesn't swallow you. The other thing we can really do is, again, as long as you have good boundaries and you're taking good care of yourself, a good way to get out of your head is look for the helpers and be a helper. Helping others helps us get out of our head. It helps us feel needed. It helps us have something positive to pull out of this mess. Even checking in on someone via phone call, checking in on your neighbors. I love seeing how people are being so creative. Kids are drawing messages on sidewalks, and people are putting things in their windows. And people are setting up Facebook pages to join the people who can help with the people who need to be helped. Find something that you can do that you feel good about, that won't jeopardize your own safety or economic security, and do what you can. We can all do something. Finding what that is helps us feel more hope. It helps us feel more connected. It helps us feel a part of something bigger than ourselves. So there's that sense of purpose. And it gives us a sense of freaking control in a very scary time where we feel so powerless over the outcomes. Make sure you bring in lots of balance with some play, maybe a new fun project in the home or in the yard. Make use of this time. Pretend you wanted to come home and stay for a couple of weeks. Find something to do where you can look back a year from now and say, I used that time wisely. I got stuff done that I normally wouldn't be able to do if I was at work or on travel or whatever, right? Try to make use of that time. Focus on being healthier. Your body is taking on so much stress. And what we know with illness is stress is the last thing that we want. So it's imperative that we all try to get enough rest, eat better, get some exercise, get outside, get some sunshine, whatever you can do, and make it a challenge to be healthier. I know that's like bumping up against wanting to eat lots of carbs and eat your feelings because you're scared as hell. But try to bring some balance and don't feel guilty. Don't feel like you should be at home getting everything under the sun done. We need to balance out all the stress and all the doing and the worrying with just some kickback time, okay? And finally, focus on being more emotionally present if you can. I know it's hard to do when you're feeling awfully distracted and anxious, but try to do that. Too soon, we're going to be back into the grind, right? And we're going to be wishing we had spent some more meaningful moments with people we love the most. So in other words, all the coping things I'm talking about here are about refocusing on what you can control and what you want to choose, and not on all that stuff out there you have zero control over. And it just keeps changing anyway. When you look back on this time 5 years from now, I want you to feel at least grateful that you have what you had and that you moved through this time in the healthiest way you could. You kept it relative. There were tons of folks worse off than you. You stayed in gratitude. It was a luxury to stay home compared to some people on the front lines. So today I just wanted to spend some time and look at the reality of living in a very turbulent time, how to set some limits for ourselves, how to take time to grieve and to heal and to help one another, and to know how interconnected we all really are. When we stay home, we're protecting our elderly neighbor that we may not even know. That's pretty wild when you think about that. I hope you take time for you this week. I hope you allow yourself to buffer the stress with some serious downtime and self-love and self-care if you can. I hope you take time to journal, meditate, walk, and reflect. Because it's not about what comes at us. It's all in how we manage it. And we can't manage it well if we're not taking care of ourselves and getting grounded. All right. Thank you for joining me for this special episode, and I will see you again this coming week as we get into April, and we're going to be talking about some really cool stuff about intuition and all kinds of cool things to tap in. And what a perfect time to do that when we are sequestered at home. So take care, everyone, and remember, take really good care of you. Keep really paying it forward. Reach out and help. And I'll see you next time.
We hope you took away some useful insights and tools you could begin using right away. If you did, please leave a positive review and share on your social media. Because could you imagine if everyone in your life really got it together? Remember, own it now, so you can really own it later.